Hello, I'm Ashwag Al-Subei, a CS PhD student at Vanderbilt University. And in this video, I'll present my paper, From Friends with Benefits to Sextortion, a nuanced investigation of adolescents' online sexual risk experience. While adolescents' sexual exploration can be considered part of their normal development, public discussions have primarily focused on its possible harm. This was also observed within the youth online safety literature. Empirical studies on youth highlight the adverse outcomes of their online sexual experiences, such as mental health and substance misuse, while focusing on the potential risks highlight the need for effective risk preventions. It does not tell the whole story around youth perceptions of their experiences. In fact, scholars have recently started to push back on the moral panic around the technology mediated risks posed to youth. Therefore, a unique contribution of this paper is addressing the perception gap between overly risk focused research and adolescents' personal sexual experiences by presenting a more nuanced examination and teen centered understanding of these experiences. Here are the research questions. Can adolescent online sexual disclosures be identified? If so, can these posts be further identified based on the levels of consent and relationship type? Are there differences between youth sexual experiences based on these contexts? What unique linguistic patterns in the posts that yield nuance insights? To address these research questions, we licensed a dataset from an online peer support platform. The data scoping resulted in over 8,000 posts made by over 6,000 youth. These filter posts were then used for the ground truth annotations. We used this annotated data set to answer RQ1 by training deep learning models for three classification tasks: sexual disclosures, relationship types, and levels of consent. For RQ2, we used the chi-square test of independence to examine the differences between the teen's sexual experiences based on these two contexts. For RQ3, we used the Dirichlet mixture model, a topic modeling algorithm that was designed to extract topics from short texts. The extracted keywords were backed by qualitative interpretations. In this study, we found that CNN outperformed other deep learning models, showing a high accuracy and area under curve as shown here. For RQ2, we found that the sexual risk experiences of youth significantly differ based on the relationships and levels of consent context. As you can see in the graph, the dark green denoted significant positive associations and dark red denoted significant negative associations. We found that most of youth sexual experiences with strangers were more likely to be non-consensual, while with their friends or dating partners were more likely to be consensual. The posts of youth sexual experiences with family members were mostly about sexual abuse. These significant associations will be further unpacked now. First, the youth sexting experiences with strangers. As we can see that for the consensual experiences where youth explicitly were willing to engage in sexting, the topic modeling yielded that around half of the posts were made by teens who identified as part of the LGBTQ community. They used the platform as a dating app by posting requests to connect with others to explore their sexuality. While the second largest topic contained posts about sexting that on the surface seemed consensual, but upon further examination appeared to be motivated by mental health conditions such as depression. For example, in this quote, a teen with mental illness who wasn't proud of the nudes she sent. The large portion of youth posts about their non-consensual sexting with strangers were about sextortion, which is threats to expose sexual images to coerce victims. These teens mostly sought help to handle such situations. For example, in this quote, a teen disclosed about her mistake of sending her location info after sending a nude picture, which then was used by the other person to threaten her. Looking at youth sexting experiences with friends and dating partners, over half of the consensual sexting posts involved a romantic partner to build intimacy and strengthen their relationships. The other topic contained posts were made by teens who sex to meet the mental health needs of their friends or dating partner. They cited suicidal ideation, self harm, and mental illness as reasons why they felt compelled to sex with them, such as in this quote. Teens' non consensual sexting experiences were associated with more aggressive and negative emotions keywords. The sexting encounter had the potential to ruin trust relationships when their friends would cross the line. The second topic described teens' expressions of anger, rage, and sense of betrayal when a friend tried to engage them in non consensual sexting, such as in this code that described a teen frustration after her friend asked for a nude. In over half of the posts from forced sexual abuse from family, teens recounted their memories of sexual abuse and rape committed by an older family and described the trauma from these experiences. These sexual abuse stories involved an interwoven pattern of online and offline sexual abuse that unfolded over time, such as in this quote from a teen who was raped by her brother and sexted him without knowing his identity online. In this study, we tackle the complexity around the concept of consent by showing nuanced examples where explicit consent was given by a teen in their post, but with further investigation illustrated that consent was undercut by indicators of mental health problems. Therefore, we urge future legal and social science research to reconceptualize consent to go beyond the explicit statement of the consent to examine the underlying factors that surround and may undermine it. We found that teens were often consenting participants in their sexting experiences with friends and dating partners, which suggests a potential narrative shift in sexual health educations toward treating sexting as a normative and developmentally appropriate with safety in mind, by considering the privacy risks associated with the persistence and replicability of digitally shared sexual information. Given that youth disclosed about their sexual abuse experiences from family emphasizes how online platforms could be a first line of defense for teens who may be victims of sexual abuse by delivering just in time help resources that either connect them with professionals to report the abuse or educate them about how to protect themselves. Overall, this study highlights how youth experienced a wide range of online sexual encounters, from normatively healthy sexual exploration to sextortion, suggesting a need to move beyond assessing risks and negative outcomes of teens' sexual behaviors and work toward a better understanding of the benefits of sexting,